I would say I'm really good at my job. I fixate over small details, which are really good when you're doing project management, because like one of the values we have at Village Capital is people will forget what you did, but never how you made them feel. And so I think when you fixate on details, it could be something as, even misspelling someone's names. And there are people who get really offended by that. And that for them is a reason enough not to engage you ever again.
Wow.
Yeah, I just fixate on details. One of the things that is very important for me in most of the work, not actually in all the work that I do, is not just to do something, but do it well.
Hey there, welcome to another episode of Expert and African, where we get up close and personal with successful tech professionals on the continent. Today, we are talking with Kenya-born Brenda Wangari, who has had a diverse and accomplished career in tech. From her beginnings in media to running business operations and then spending nearly 5 years in program management at Village Capital, an early-stage startup VC firm, Brenda has seen it all. She attributes her success to her background in communication and her strong leadership and management skills, especially her ability to work effectively with people from different cultures. Brenda is currently a senior program manager at Village Capital. So let's listen in as Brenda shares her journey and the lessons she has learned along the way. So what does it mean to be a program manager? Is it really a lot of work?
Being a program manager, I would say is very demanding. So primarily, I run programs that support entrepreneur support organizations. But then the secondary bit of my job also involves doing programs for entrepreneurs. And that's where a majority of my work lies. So primarily, I run programs that support entrepreneur support organizations. But then the secondary bit of my job also involves doing programs for entrepreneurs. So running a program is quite tasking. Like it's all the things you can think about when it comes to like a project, managing it from end to end. Yeah, like project management is like end to end, and then now in between is a myriad of other things. It could mean we're doing like an in-person training. Like my first program that I worked on at Village Capital, we did a training in Lagos, training in Nairobi, training in Cape Town. So Lagos for me was easy because I've lived here before. I know so many people. And Nairobi was also relatively easy, but then Cape Town was a place I'd never been, so it means like you have to do your research, make sure you're inviting like the right mentors, find the best venue that people will not spend 2 hours in traffic trying to get there. It's also accessible to everyone. Make sure there's food. Has everyone booked their tickets? Are we doing a networking event after? Who's on the guest list? Yes, so it's like all that is what it means, like to do program management is just end to end. There's also like budget management. Like this one recently I was managing, but it was quite complex because it was in euros. Our organization operates in USD, and then we were working with organizations in Kenya and Uganda, and we work with different currencies. I absolutely love my work. I think it's one of those things that brings me great joy, and there's a lot of things that happen like on the African ecosystem. And I think the role that entrepreneur support organizations play is very key, but there's a lot more that still needs to happen to make the environment for entrepreneur support organizations better. And so that's why I spend most of my time. It's been a very fulfilling thing to do, to just see how things that I would say like come very easily and naturally to us at Village Capital make a huge difference for like a hub in like rural Uganda. And there's a lot of funding going now to even African startups and all that. And the thing now in like the continent is when people go to sort of like Y Combinator, it becomes like this signal for investors and other people,
Sure.
Like this is a solid startup. But there's so many other people who are also running this type of programs for entrepreneurs on the continent. And I really look forward to a time where, people will not be looking, I want to go to Y Combinator, I want to go to all these other programs outside of Africa, but then rather looking at what is here and what is homegrown. And there's amazing examples of people who are doing this and doing it very well, and they've evolved over the years, and they're getting their business model right.
What would you say is the hardest part of being a program manager?
I think I would say one of the challenging things, like being a project manager, is keeping tabs of different things. Just knowing when it's sort of I'd equate it to like juggling multiple balls. And so if I'm juggling 3 balls today and then another thing is added tomorrow, like my day did not increase to now it's 26 hours. So you still have to fit that into the timeline that you have. And coming into this field, if you're not able to manage different things at the same time, then that would be like a very huge challenge. Because it's never one thing. If it starts with one thing will become 4 things, and then 4 things become 6 things. Yeah. I look at it as there are things that could be happening live, and there are things that could not be happening in the background. And so like now I'm here with you, but like my mind has not shut down. There are still other things that I'm processing. And so that's the same way I view like multitasking when it comes to project management. If you're doing an event now, there are things that should be happening in the background in order to make this event a success. When it's happening now, then there are other people who are involved. Say you're getting a guest speaker for a session, there is sort of like there could be feeding that needs to happen for participants that you have. There could be you need maybe to process an invoice, you need it recorded, you need like the event recorded, you need photography done, videography done. All these things could be happening, but they're not also they're not counterproductive. Like it's not like one is cancelling the other. They're sort of like building towards each other. So I think also not just multitasking, but also seeing your tasks as how do they build into each other, as opposed to just different things that do not fit into each other will make your work way easier.
Aside from multitasking, what other skills, soft skills, that you have that is helping you in your career?
I would say also strategic thinking is a big one. Just seeing what the end goal is, and then being able to work with an end in mind is something that is very helpful. Also, just people management. That's one of the biggest things actually, because project management is all about working with people, unless you want to do everything. And working with people it could be people that report to you, people that are on the same level with you, and at times also people who are above you. So you have to be very good at managing your team, but also managing up. And so if it means working with like senior leadership in your organization, in another organization, and always keeping them updated. There's also a level of detail that you give your senior management that you don't give, your junior management, and vice versa.
So human management comes naturally to you, or you had to learn it?
I would say it comes naturally, because there has to be an aspect that is natural, because not all things can be learned. But I've also done a course at the Think School of Creative Leadership. Okay. And this was very instrumental for me because my role means I work with people from very diverse cultures. So my first time living in Nigeria, I think I was just shocked most of the time. Nigerians can be very blunt, they can just be very straight to the point, but also that means they're very good at doing business because people give you responses like this. So my first time coming to Nigeria, I was actually working with ISAC. So in ISAC, you could either do leadership, positions within the organization where you'd have access to chapters across 256 countries which you could go and work apart from your country. And then we also had this aspect of internships. So you could either do a voluntary internship or a professional one. So I just came to Nigeria but now to work for ISAC in Nigeria. And so I have had so many opportunities in ISAC to just hone that people skill. And then after that, just in the places I've worked, I've been blessed to have many amazing bosses who are very nurturing with their leadership style. And now I actually did a course with Think School of Creative Leadership, and it was a course on just how to lead teams. It was either for either first time or second time managers. It was not my second time leading a team, but it was my second time leading a global team. And so we had like teammates from all over the world. And I remember one of the courses we did was one on culture and how to build trust. And it was just talking about how, like, when it comes to people from the West, a lot of them like build trust through like completion of tasks. So if you work with someone from the West, when you complete your task, like that helps build your trust. But from the East, it's very relationship based. So I'm sure you realize, like, when you talk with people from the East, they want to know how you are, how's your family. You know, if you had mentioned your daughter one time, they want to know how your daughter is and stuff like that. And so many meetings might just take a longer time, just, you know, these pleasantries. But this is how people build trust here. And so I think now, last year was when I experienced like that need to sort of like upskill myself when it came to people management, because now I was working with another global team and people from very different cultures, and I was like at a senior leadership position. And you know, a senior leadership is not where you become very problem oriented, is where you're solution oriented. And so we're working in this like very diverse team. How do we make sure that people, you know, are being efficient, are delivering at their best and stuff like that? And so the Think course really helped me with that. But also I have a coach, I have a management coach. She's amazing. Shout out to Cece. And we meet at least once every month. And also she has like a curriculum that she follows to just help upskill people who work like in global organizations and are like in positions that are similar to mine.
So aside from learning how to be a good leader, what other skills did you have to learn?
What other skills did I have to learn? I've had to upgrade my budget management skills. I think one of the things that has happened with my career is it's been, I would say, like a steep learning curve. And I think most of the time, I don't think it's plateaued yet. It's always been like this. Maybe I'll plateau and I'm 40, and then I'll go into consultancy. But like even budget management, like now dealing with different budgets in different currencies, and even now that we have inflation and things like those, it's been a skill that I've had to, you know, be better at. And one of my reasons to interest actually now is to sort of go more into active investing. And so also active investment will mean, you know, looking at budgets and financial statements and things like those that are presented by startups. And so that's a skill that I've had to, you know, pick up.
You worked with Techpoint at the time when Techpoint just started. How did that happen?
Wale is my friend. So when Wale is my friend, and also I think he's very visionary. I think most of the time, like, Wale would say the things he wants to do, and we'd be like, oh wow, okay, cool. And then now he's doing them, and you know, like even now he's doing like a very great job with All School. Yeah. And then I remember like when Techpoint launched, it was like very big, like in the Nigerian ecosystem. And one of the things that was actually popular were like, you know, the headshots that Wale used to do, and you know, you were sure when you went to the website you'd have like this clean photos. I think the office tours that we used to do then that were very popular. And yeah, when Wale was like, yeah, we want to get a couple of Kenyan stories, you know, East African stories on there, I was like, yeah, why not? And, you know, like based on like what I was doing then, I would still meet a lot of people from the ecosystems. It was very easy for me to just go into, like I remember one of my first stories was at iHub. Then there was like this, there was also this other guy who was selling like livestock online. And then these were things that were not happening, but also these were stories that could not be told. So, like, I really have a soft spot for Techpoint, because then I think there's so many people whose stories needed to be told, and they were not told by, you know, the typical media houses that we had then. And Techpoint came and just filled in that gap. I did find myself in media. Actually, fun fact, I studied communication in university. And while in university, actually, like, my friend and a number of friends started a magazine, like a student magazine. And we did the first edition, which was great, but we only had money to print. And we did like one edition, and then someone threatened to sue us because we just committed like all the classic entrepreneurial mistakes. Like we didn't do a name search for like our company and stuff like that. And so someone threatened to sue us because the name of the magazine was like the name of the company. And so we did one edition with one name, and then we pivoted to another name. Then I think the same name, like everyone, most people on the team were just not feeling it as we were feeling the first time, and so we only did two editions, and so like now meeting Wanley and like doing Techpoint, I see it more storytelling and just getting people to talk about their experiences and document them. So that's just basically how I view it. Not very, not really media, not like hardcore media. I think you do media. I think what I was doing then was just storytelling.
You mentioned career path. Some people, they know what they want to do. By the time they enter university, some are just cruising. Some people like me are just cruising through life. Yeah. Did you have like a plan or a career plan for yourself? And so far, have you been able to follow?
Yeah. It was all cruise. But I actually did not have a career plan, like, by 30 do this, do that. I don't think I had. I just wanted to be in roles where I could leverage like what I'm really good at and what comes easily to me. And that is what just I've been discovering throughout my career. Like now project management, like when I was in uni, I did like project management so many times. There was one time we worked on like this award ceremony and we weren't even paid. Like the people I brought into work weren't even paid, but it was like a huge opportunity to just do an event, and it had so much coordination, so much. And then after that, in ISEC, I also did a lot of project management. Like now I look back at them, I'm like, that was project management. Right. But then when I was doing them, I was just like, oh, what do you need me to do? And we'd have like maybe 40 interns coming in from all over Africa, not all over Africa, like all over the world, coming in to like to work on on projects we had at the University of Nairobi. And to get them like leisure activities that we do, get them trips to go on, plan their accommodation, plan their airport pickups and drop-offs, and in between like plan social activities. This is your birthday, what are we doing? And things like those. Like now when I look back, I used to have spreadsheets, and now I go back to them and I'm like, actually, like
I was for a long time.
Yeah, and then I used to I'd look at those spreadsheets and it didn't seem difficult. It just seemed like, okay, explain to me what was going on. But also this is when it exposed me to working. Like my first boss in ISEC was actually from Brazil, and her name was Tiziana, and Tiziana was such a hustler. Like I think Tiziana would thrive in Nigeria. Like she was such a hustler, and she gave me so many opportunities like to learn and facilitate and just to be at the forefront of things. And then my next boss after that was from China. And so like from early on then just in uni I had to, communicate with people a lot, do all these project management things. But I wouldn't say I really had a plan. Now maybe I have a plan right. To retire by 40, but before that, no, I didn't have one.
Yeah. What would you say sets you apart? Now, I can pick out the fact that ISEC is a huge influence.
Yeah, it was.
In your career growth. Well, what currently sets you apart in the job you do?
Yeah. Wow. That sounds like you want me to beat my own drum.
Please blow your trumpet. Please blow it.
I would say I'm really good at my job. I fixate over small details, which are really good when you're doing project management, because like one of the values we have at Village Capital is people will forget what you did, but never how you made them feel. And so I think when you fixate on details, it could be something as, even misspelling someone's names. And there are people who get really offended by that. And that for them is a reason enough not to engage you ever again. Yeah, and most of the time, like, when I work in this field, you meet people who are just like, those are just like small details, you don't need to fixate on them. And I'm like, these actually would make or break an experience for someone. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just fixate on details. One of the things that is very important for me in most of the work, not actually in all the work that I do, is not just to do something, but do it well. So I'm not those people who just want to tick a box. I want to tick a box and, take it very well. And I think like the people I have worked with, will be testament to this, funders we've worked with who've, funded us again. And It could be things that, for me, so this is a mountain. And so, we'll be like, okay, what is the best way to climb this mountain? We'll be like, okay, let's get our gear, let's look at the best time of the year to go. Is there anyone else who's going at the same time so that we can cut our costs? And so I think that is how I approach a lot of the work that I do. And I just don't want to tick a box. I want to tick the box but do it very well. And one of the things I usually say is, like, Muhammad Ali is well known, and no matter how many other boxes come, people always still refer to Muhammad Ali, and it's because he's a goat, the greatest of all time. And that's also what I want people to say about me when they come in touch with my work, or when I'm working directly with them, and they're just like, yeah, she was just the best that there ever was.
Yeah. What do you do or what are the tools or the things you do that makes you productive?
I like to meditate. I just picked it up sometime last year, but I find when you're working on multiple things, as I was saying, like project management, you're doing multiple things at once, fixating over very many details. It's just I need to calm my mind and not think about anything. So I do meditation. I also picked up yoga again. So I've done yoga on and off for 4 or 5 years. And I've just picked it up again. And also I moved 2 years ago, because of COVID. Because of COVID, Village Capital went fully remote. And so I moved from Nairobi to a small town on the coast called Kilifi. And so I like to chase sunsets. The sunset is just right outside my house.
Cool?
Yeah. I love to chase sunsets. And when I'm not doing that, you'll find me I have a friend called Momo who has this huge, beautiful garden and he has a hammock. That is where you'll find me with a book or just listening to music, because also I listen to a lot of music. I have a lot of DJ friends who specialize in Afro house. So that has been a genre I've picked up over the last year or so. And just things that will keep my mind off work, because I think when I go to work, then things just go smoothly. But also I'm very curious. So I like to meet new people and just learn what different people are doing. One of my recent interests is in music production, actually. I think I have a very good ear for a beat. So I've been listening to a lot of Ashake and being like, who is that producer? And just picking up when a random beat drops. And yeah, I just need to do things that also come naturally to me on this other side. That I think I'd also be very good at scouting art. I love art.
Wow. And
I hope my friend Momo and Muma open an art studio, because that is where you'll come and see the art that I have scouted.
Wow.
I also love traveling and just creating experiences for people, and come to me and tell me, this is my budget. I have $1,000 and I would like to have this kind of experience. I would see just how to stretch that dollar. I used to do that actually when I was in uni. We'd plan all these trips to Zanzibar with my friend, and we used to say then we'll go into lifestyle management, or you come and you're like, oh yeah, I'm moving to Lagos, and maybe I'll be earning this much and this will be my disposable income, and so we create a lifestyle for you. I'm also into photography. Yeah, I think I would also do that. But I think I'm always joking with one of my friends and telling them that I think I'd also go into music, and I usually not to sing, produce. But I usually say I think most of these things would be one hit wonders. If I did a photography series, it would be so good that if people would not just keep asking me, when are you going back to photography? When are you going back to this? Right. If I produce a song, I need to produce a song for Ashake, inshallah. And I think it would be so dope. People would keep asking me, when are you going back into music? But I'm these are all things that I'm passionate about, but I think I would do them and just do them once, and then that itch for me is scratched and move on to something else. Yeah.
But I believe that you're doing some of these things as leisure, just to satisfy that part.
Yes, definitely.
And how are you managing that with your work?
With my work?
Yes.
I tend to disconnect. I like taking breaks, and just breaks where I'm not working. And at least I thank God that I work in a place where leave means leave. So when you go and leave, people really don't look for you. Mm-hmm. And I also work with a great team where they know you'll be out of office, things will be covered. And so when I go out of office, it's just like, I know like I'll not come back and find that, things burnt down. I can go on leave and just know that things will go on well. And that means a lot going to nature. So find me at like a national park somewhere, on my friend's garden, just sitting on a hammock. Yeah, but it works. It's not worked so far.
Like for a person that does it 9 to 5, if you want to give like a recommendation how the person can manage their work and life, what would you advise?
I think in this day and age, especially when you find a lot of people work from home, like it's no longer about like the work-life balance. It's more of like work-life harmony, because like you'll find like your work interfaces a lot with your work. And as we grow older, like we have less and less time for just social time. So it would depend first on the age of this person and like what do they do outside work that is not like leisure. There are people who hold multiple jobs. That means your time is even more into. There are people who will have a job, but they also have like this side gig that they do. So like look at really that time where you just have to do nothing. And at times even just sleeping is fine. Like there are times I'm like there's a time I think I took a leave for 1 week, and all I did during that week was sleep. And it's fine. It does not need to be going to climb a mountain or going to on a beach or somewhere like that. At times like just sleeping and giving your body rest is fine.